yes, I'm going to be okay. And they're like, well, he's going to be okay. He's got millions of dollars and he's got a beautiful wife and beautiful kids and lives in a multi-million-dollar house or whatever it is. Like, yes, I'm very fortunate and I do not take anything for granted. But at the same time, I have a passion and love for the game of golf. And I have a passion and a love for how great can I be at this game of golf.
Foreplay, presented by Barstool Sports, brought to you by our very, very good friends at Chevy, the all-electric Silverado from Chevy. Barstool's most valuable truck, they call that bad boy. Chevy EVs for everyone, everywhere. We got much to discuss. Billy Horschel is going to join for the second half of this show. If people didn't see, he shot 84 on Thursday at Muirfield at the Memorial, where he has won before. He then agreed to do media afterwards, which is amazing. And then in that media, he was insanely candid, emotional, about the toll of golf, about everything. That then went viral. A bunch of people chimed in, from Fleener to other golfers, basically telling stories about how great of a guy Billy Horschel is. We've obviously been big Billy Ho guys for the last year or so. We had the whole scramble match with him at TBC Sawgrass. So I reached out to him and just said, if you'd like to come on the show and chit chat. So he's going to come on in a few hours. For us in real time, he'll come on immediately after we're done talking for you guys. So Billy Horschel's coming up. I'm excited to talk to him. Excited to hear kind of his vantage point, his mindset on everything, and just kind of catch up with Billy Ho. We got me and Dan Rappaport right now. We got Rose Zhang, who just won in her first professional start on the LPGA Tour. Hasn't happened since 1951. That's 72 years. That just literally never happens. We had Viktor Hovland, Denny McCarthy down the stretch at Muirfield, one of the more iconic non-major tournaments every year pretty much, and it delivered again this year. We got U.S. Open next week, so we got quite a bit to discuss. Dan Rappaport actually is getting married this weekend. How about that?
Yeah, this is a big week, but you know what? This isn't about me. This is about golf, and this is about fans. So we'll keep the wedding talk to a minimum, because honestly, I've just had my fill of talking about the wedding. It's going to happen. I'm going to be there. I'm going to have a great time, but I am done talking about this damn wedding. So
yeah,
let's talk about golf, baby.
Yeah, it's essentially your fiance's party that you're going to be a big part of is basically what's going on. It sounds like.
My favorite recent development is I'm getting a lot of texts from a lot of people being like, this is the week. Like, how are you feeling? It's like, I'm feeling the same as I've felt the last 20 months since we've been engaged. Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to like have this crazy sense of nervousness, or I'm just like, yeah, I'm ready. It's the same date. The date that we told you to block off, that date's coming up. So that's what's going to happen.
Incredible. I, in a funny way, am going to be in Chicago. The wedding's in Chicago, and I just won't be at your wedding.
Which
and
is
the reasoning
crazy.
Is,
can we talk about the craziness about this? Riggs told me he couldn't come to the wedding. I'm sorry. I need to vent a little bit about this.
Yeah.
Riggs says, I it's just a really tough time for me. I've been kind of the center of this trip for 12 years, 15 years, 27 years. And, we're doing it every year. And this is the last year. So last year we do it. So I just got to go. I said, a guy who loves golf trips myself. I said, yeah, of course. No problem. Where's the trip? I'm getting married in Chicago. I'm just curious. He goes, is this Chicago? I'm like, well, and so there's no way you could, he's like, yeah, no, it's just not going to work.
I considered all options, and I'm just not going to be able to go. That's pretty much the situation.
I appreciate the commitment to the trip.
We might as well be in Ireland. Like, we're just in a bubble when we do this trip. This is the Skokie Challenge that I talk about every year. My brother drives up from St. Louis. It's a kind of a big family affair mixed with friends. We've had like 4 different sets of brothers, I think, throughout the trip that have been involved. We're almost like 3 generations have been involved. It's my very, very good college buddies' parents host us at their home. We walk to the course. They have a home on the course. It's a whole deal. We have like an opening dinner Friday. Saturday night is story night and steak night. The significant others are invited. And I just was doing it in my head. And I was like, yeah, I've never missed. The way it works is like the family pretty much just puts out the date, and they're like, this is just when it is. You need to be there. I've obviously never missed. My brother's never missed. So I was just like, I'm sorry, Dad, I just can't make it. I get that it's in Chicago. It's probably 20 minutes from where you're at.
It's not far. I know exactly where the golf course is. It's not far.
Not going to be there. But I believe Frankie and Trent will be there. I'm excited to hear all about how it went. I'm rooting you great luck. I'm going to get you a gift, the whole deal, but I just won't physically be there. So I hope you have a great wedding experience, wedding week, the whole deal. Let's talk about golf. We got a lot of golf to get into. Couple golf things on our front. Breaking 90 comes out on Wednesday. Is that right, Bush? The next Breaking 90 resumes?
Yep, Wednesday.
Breaking 90 resumes on Wednesday. I saw a lot of hype about this. I don't know. I go in dark. I don't want to know. When Dan played Perez and you guys had a couple of matches, I don't want to know who wins. I don't want to know. I want to watch. And same deal with Breaking 90. I'm not there. That's largely a Frankie, Trent, our behind the scenes guys production. So Breaking 90 returns Wednesday. So get hyped, get excited for that. Trent's obviously been working hard on his game. And then the Father's Day video with Trent and Frankie at Myrtle Beach, which is one of the more wholesome things that's ever occurred, is out now. That came out on Monday, yesterday, when you guys are listening to the show now. So go to Foreplay YouTube, please subscribe, check out. We got video after video coming out per usual. Our guys have been working their dicks off getting these things edited, filming, flying all over the place. Frankie and Trent not here right now, because they're in Wisconsin at Lac La Belle hosting the Barstool Classic. They're heckling people on the tee. I believe Jeff Delo's out there doing trivia. So we're busy. We got shit going all over the place. And then shout out to the Canadian Open, the RBC Canadian Open this week. Amazing golf tournament. Last year, it was Rory versus JT down the stretch. Rory wins, gives the whole interview where he says he's got one more win now than Greg Norman, and the whole deal. Crazy that we've come a full year since then. But the Score Bet, who is part of Barstool Sports, the Score Bet, they've got a par 3 hole going on up there called Hole 0, which is a playable par 3 for anyone that's there on site, patrons, fans, that you can play. So along with the Score Bet, you should be using that this week if you're Canadian, if you're up there in the Toronto area. RBC Canadian Open going on. It is basically Canada's major. It's like the biggest golf tournament that goes on in Canada. So you guys should be excited for that. We like Canada. Go check out that hole. See how you stack up against the field. It's Hole 0, golf hole going on site, at the site, right next to where PGA Tour pros are just playing for the biggest golf tournament that there is in Canada. So shout out to the Score Bet. You know, we have been a big part of the Chevy EV family. Obviously, we've been talking about it for a year or so now. Rented a Chevy actually last week. I was in the North Carolina area. I spoke about it on the show, playing a little bit of golf with my dad, who's getting back into it, which is just delightful to see. But anyways, drove the Chevy EV around, and I got to tell you, we talked about them a lot. We've done the Silverado, which is amazing. We're going to talk about the Silverado. But just these EVs, the fact that they're all electric, the fact that you still get that Chevy, that iconic bow tie, that Chevy feel, that it's a great, powerful, incredible machine, yet it's all electric at the same time. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. The Chevy Silverado EV, all electric. It's Barstool's most valuable truck. We got the chance to see it. Available 400-mile range. GM estimated on a full charge, over 10 feet of length in the bed. Large 17-inch diagonal display screen. These display screens are off the charts. It's the fact that we have that kind of technology anywhere on Earth is amazing. The fact that it's just in your car in a Chevy Silverado EV, and that it's all electric. It's off the charts. It could tow up to 10,000 pounds of max towing. 0 to 60. Wait till you hear this. 0 to 60 in under 4.5 seconds with WOW mode, up to an impressive 785 foot-pounds of torque. So you just do yourself a favor. Go to Chevy.com. Check out that website. Go to Chevy.com to learn more. Chevy EVs for everyone, everywhere. Viktor Hovland wins. It's his 4th, I believe, PGA Tour win. He won like $3.6 million. Gutsy down the stretch. He was the only guy all day to birdie 17. Gets in, gutsy par on 18, up and down from just over the green, and then wins on, what was it, the second playoff hole that he ended up winning on?
First
playoff. Oh, that's right. Denny McCarthy went bogey, which is, after not really making a bogey all day, I believe, until the 18th hole and then the first playoff hole. But yeah, Viktor Hovland, stud. He's been right there in the last several majors. Gets a win at a big golf tournament. Feels like Viktor Hovland's kind of one of the guys right now.
Yeah, I think what you said, he's been in contention in the last 3 or 2 of the last 3. He played in the final group. Remember at St. Andrews, he was playing with Rory McIlroy. Cameron Smith obviously ended up winning the tournament.
That's right.
He was so conservative that day. I remember he was hitting like 4-iron off the tee. And he later said, to his credit, that my strategy was off. It's been an interesting development in Viktor Hovland's career, is that he will analyze what he's done in the past and be very upfront about changes that he needs to make. He's like, I played too conservative off the tee back then. He's not going to do that again. His chipping, obviously, the story's been told a million times where it's been an Achilles heel through his career. He knew that his technique was off. And he said something after he won on Sunday that I think will resonate with a lot of golfers. Is he said, back before I had the right technique, it wasn't just that I couldn't pull off the shots like under the gun, the short game shots. It was that he didn't have the shots. If he was on a downslope and needed to like stop something quick, he just physically couldn't pull off that shot with the technique that he had. So to completely overhaul his chipping, yeah, he's been there, obviously was in contention at the PGA where he hit it in the lip of the bunker. When you hit it as good as he does and you're starting now to chip and to be confident, he's dangerous. I think he's going to be, probably like in the 4th or 5th favorite range for LACC, because it's a game that's always been really solid on paper for majors, but the short game has held him back. And now he's showing that at least, he can pull off those shots down the stretch. So his stock is insanely high, especially after he decided to caddy for his boy. I mean, do you see that move this morning?
Saw that. Yep. We obviously got US Open qualifying today, 36 holes. That's the biggest. I assume he's at Springfield Country Club where everybody tries to qualify after they play. Yeah. So he, I guess the story is that he had already committed to caddy with his boy. No matter what happens, he wins the tournament, shows up the next morning, and he's looping for 36 holes for his college pal.
That's such a classic. He would never have agreed to that after the fact, but it's once you already say yes, then you look like an asshole if you say no. If he had said no at the beginning, he'd be like, it's the end of the Memorial, it's a long day, it's 36 holes. That'd be fine. But once you say yes and then you win, then it's like, oh, this guy thinks he's big time. Like, oh, you win one golf tournament and all of a sudden you can't be carrying the bag. I just love it when a pro does this, because the reaction from golf Twitter, and I am 100% complicit in this, but the reaction is just, Player X is the most likable player in the history of the world. Player X is the best person in America. We don't deserve Player X. Player X is a national treasure. It's just rinse and repeat. Again, I'm not saying that I'm a special case. I just find it funny that we just do the same dance every single time a player does something like pretty cool.
It's a all-time PR move. Like he doesn't strike me as a guy that did it for PR reasons, but if anybody out there, this is a lesson to you all. No matter what, if you just do a pretty normal thing, like caddying for his buddy is a pretty normal thing. I bet he enjoys it. I bet he enjoys the hell out of it. He's out there with his pal.
He's a golf geek. Like,
they're going to be spending 10 hours together today. He loves golf. He's right in the mix. He's kind of gets to be involved in a big round of golf, big 2 rounds of golf for his buddy. I bet he's very excited about it. Yet everyone's like he became the janitor at the local school for the day.
It's crazy.
And treating it that way. So
he's been like he's been volunteering at the hospital for months. Like, yes, it's very cool what he did. It's a homie move. It's great. It's just like he's Mother Teresa now.
I've caddied for a couple of my buddies. I caddied for my buddy Kyle in the Mass Open qualifier, and then I think we actually caddied for the Mass Open, and it's insanely fun being out there, being again involved. Somebody's trying to make it. You're involved in pressure moments. You're involved in club decisions and confirmation and conversations and reads on green. Like, it's very fun.
Have I never told you my US Open qualifying story, caddying?
I don't know if you have.
So I caddied for a guy. He's actually playing in the LA one again. He's kind of this like local legend. He played a couple years on the Corn Ferry Tour. His name is Danny Wax, and then he gave it up. So I caddied for him 36 holes, 2010. So I was 15. And this was at Del Paso Country Club in Sacramento. So I skipped school. Again, I'm 15 years old, probably 9th grade. And I had caddied for him in the local. We grew up at the same club, so we were boys. He plays the first round. There's a bunch of pros there, and plays the first round. He shoots 3 over, and we're like, all right, this is basically over. Basically, throw away all the strategy for the second round and just fire at pins. That's what we're gonna do. Just fire at pins. He gets to the 17th hole of the second round, and he's 7 under for the second round. So 4 under total, and it's gonna be close. Like he's setting, he's right about on the line. He's going to be really close. 17th hole, he holes out a 30-yard bunker shot on a 230-yard par 3 for birdie to get to 8 under for the round. So at this point, and we had an agreement in place that if I caddied for him in the local and I caddied for him in the sectional, then I was absolutely caddying. At that year, it was at Pebble fucking Beach. So I'm thinking to myself, we're going to Pebble Beach. The last hole is like a driver 8-iron. Like, we're ready to go here. And it was like a 40-yard walk back to the tee. And I turned to him and I said, looks like you're getting yourself a course record today, baby. And he looks at me, and in a moment of weakness, and this was kind of, he's like, why'd you say that? Like, what, like, why would you say that? I was like, I don't know. You're 8 under. Like, He'll make another birdie or make a par, and you're probably at the course
Insane
record.
Move that you said that. I couldn't agree more with him.
I was 15 years old. Like, it was definitely not like a cool thing, but that's something that if you're the player, you don't say anything, and then after the round, you're like, don't ever fucking say that again.
I wouldn't be blaming him for the commentary on the 18th tee. But
I'm trying to deflect a little bit.
Okay.
He hits it in the right trees. He has to punch out. He third one short in the bunker. He makes a bogey and misses a playoff by one shot.
Yep. Yeah, man, it's on you. You probably never got the call up to caddy.
Never played in the U.S. Open.
I don't think there's gonna be a lot of people listening that are like, I got to get Dan Rappaport in the bag now, which is ironic because one of your video series is that you caddy.
15. I was 15 years old. Listen,
That's pretty
you have
crazy.
to learn through life experiences, but yeah, it's an incredible day, and it's I've been watching I'm such a nerd. I've been watching the Golf Channel coverage of it all day. They cover it like it's an election. You know what I mean? Like they do. It's all day coverage. They'll go to the different sites. You know, they have election people who are like, oh, turnout is high in Dayton County or whatever. They're like, oh,
John
makes a
King.
couple birdies.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
CNN. The guy with the giant screen, the giant touch screen. That's the guy.
The magic wall. Yeah. And it's just a really cool day because for a lot of these guys, just making it, that's the goal. Anything that happens is gravy. But you go to a lot of these other tournaments, and it's sort of the same thing for the PGA Championship, but you go to like the Players Championship, for example, right? And if a guy misses the cut by 6, he's like on the range. It's like a crisis, like really bad. Mm-hmm. At the U.S. Open, you've got probably 40 guys in the field who are, they're telling themselves that they can win, they're telling themselves that they can do it, but really simply making this tournament is one of the highlights of their life. So today's a really, really cool day in golf.
It is. I agree. It is. Well, by the time this comes out, we'll know a lot of who got in. The blocks are playing, so the block party's kind of back on stage, I guess, today. So if they or he or his son make it, that'll get a lot of coverage, and a lot of it gets coverage. Who gets through, who doesn't. Sergio got through, I believe, a couple weeks ago at the last qualifier when there was. So players like that you'll see. And yeah, it's a great day. U.S. Open. I actually was having a chat, spent a lot of time with my dad over the last 5 days or so. He'd been down to Pinehurst. He played number 2, number 4 for the first time. He's getting back into golf for the first time in like 10 years.
Amazing.
So play a little bit of golf. We're talking a lot about golf. Oh, there's just nothing cooler than playing golf with your dad. Absolute blast seeing him out there. TaylorMade hooked him up with a fitting and a set of clubs. I got him some G4s. I did get him some Peter Millar gear too, and he just went, and you got to give him credit. He just went straight to his go-to golf shirt that he's had for like 15 years. So I gave it was like an Under Armour shirt,
and it's like
he got all this sweet stuff, and he wore his cargo. He wore his cargo shorts and like an Under Armour polo or something that that's his golf polo. That's what he's had anytime. And again, in the last 10, 15 years that he's shown up to like a Barstool Classic or something, this is like one of his 2 or 3 things that he has that he has just mentally labeled as.
Play the hits.
Golf shirt. I will golf shirt it up today. That's it. So, but he had the G4s. He had the MG4 pluses on. He loved those. He was piping his Stealth too, piping it, which is nice to see. He doesn't have a single wedge in his bag that has more loft than a gap wedge. That's just how he's a bump and run guy. He's an old man playing old man golf. So he finally at the end of the trip conceded and was like, so you think I should get like a sand wedge? I was like, yep, I think you need to get a sand wedge.
Probably, yeah.
But incredible time getting back into it. But anyways, we were talking a lot. We had a couple car trips together, road trips together. And he was like, I think the U.S. Open is my favorite golf tournament to actually watch. He's like, I think it's the one that I get the most hyped up to watch. And we were debating it, talking about it. I kind of said Masters, and then we started talking British Open. Then we were talking about PGA and how the PGA's delivered in the last 5 or 6 years a bunch of amazing back nine. But I think from a pure golf standpoint, and bringing this up because obviously U.S. Open's next week, US Open qualifying, I do think like the Masters has the most hype, and like we talk about it so much. The back nine, aim in corner, all the tradition and all that.
I also think being first is an underrated huge part of why the Masters is so as big as it is.
There's so much build up for 9 months. But I think pure like golf shot for golf shot, the U.S. Open is up there. I just feel like it's up there. And it depends on the course and each year. But it's like every swing could lead to a double bogey, it feels like. And that's just, it's fun for golfers to watch. It's more relatable. We always say that we go for carnage. The British Open at certain venues too could be amazing because it has the most interesting like results of any shot where it could take a hill or the firmness and it could end up anywhere. But I do think the U.S. Open is that carnage that you root for when you tune in and like one of the best players in the world is 9 over through 11 or something. You're like, all right, I got to watch this shit. This is incredible. So very, very hyped up for the US Open, LACC next week. Very, very, very hyped up. But
yeah, I'm super excited for this one. I grew up in LA and I've played that golf course like quite a few times. So it feels, obviously it's not truly a home US Open. I don't, but I've played it a bunch of times and I know that course pretty well. And we're working on some content for you guys that is going to be a little bit different than anything Foreplay's kind of done in the past. That we got rolling out for US Open week. One YouTube video and then a couple social concepts that I'm really excited about. A real team effort between myself, Brendan, and Alex Bush. And I'm going to be just in heaven that week. I'm staying at my parents' house.
LA.
I played that golf course a bunch of times. LA is like my city. I'm moving back there in a couple months. If it were up to me, I probably would have moved back like a year ago. So it's I'm really, really looking forward to it.
That gets me hyped up because I don't know shit about this golf course, and I've said a lot.
I'll walk you through everything on Monday.
I've said a lot on, when we go on golf trips, I try to refrain nowadays from taking the hole by hole tour because I think that when you experience a golf course for the first time, the way that the architect or the owner, the combination of both, the developers, whoever meant it to be is that when you walk on a tee or you walk over a fairway crest and have a reveal, see the green for the first time, it was meant to be experienced that way for the first time. And if you get in all these whole flyovers and pictures, I think that it can take away from that experience. Very difficult to do. The hype gets, you get the hype train going, the group text gets going a couple weeks before, a month before. All you want to do to distract yourself from work or personal issues or stress or paying bills, whatever, is like, I just want to focus on this fucking golf trip. I'm going to go look at pictures online. It's really hard to do. But if you could do that, it makes that experience so much cooler when you walk onto a tee, you walk onto a golf course, you've heard it's great, and you don't know anything about it. And that's so cool. There's a little bit of that with LACC that I'm really excited about right now, that I know nothing about it. But given the beginning of the week, I want to learn about it. And then once the coverage starts, you start to build a relationship with the viewing, with the golf course, with where guys are on the golf course. I remember that going through that at Oak Hill. Like, I didn't really remember anything from 2013 PGA at Oak Hill. And so as you kind of develop and learn about like the 6th hole and the 7th hole and how hard those golf holes are at Oak Hill, and you kind of emotionally can put yourself in the mindset of the golfer of like where they're at in this round. Ooh, they got a couple birdie opportunities coming up. 10's playing downwind today. Whatever. And that like building that sort of relationship with LACC from scratch, I'm actually really excited about.
I'm looking forward to seeing it with you for the first time, that you've seen it. It's an incredible piece of property that is right in the middle of the city. I mean, those drone shots are going to just absolutely pop. On a clear day, you can see downtown. Like it's like kind of like Liberty National. If Liberty National had this like crazy, I'm just going to leave it there, but extremely excited for it. And yeah, it's sneaking up on us. This part of the year just flies by. It's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it does. I was thinking this time in 2 weeks, we will be halfway through the major season, and like, 7/8 of the way through the PGA Tour season or so.
We're already halfway through the major season.
Well, I'm sorry, we'll be more than halfway through the major season, which is right. That's nuts to think about. That's like, and we're really, if you count, I mean, the Players Championship isn't a major, but there's 5 biggest like stroke play events every year. Players is one of them. So the fact that we have 3 of those bad boys are down already. We've only got 2 left. It's nuts how quickly it happens. I feel like we were just talking on the show about watching fucking Wales at the Tournament of Champions and like getting going a little bit. Some of the big stars are back playing, and now here we are. We're like I said, we're already halfway through the major season. So Myrtle Beach, South Carolina is the golf capital of the world, was recently voted America's favorite buddies trip destination. We have a video right now. We tease it on the show a little bit, but a video from Myrtle Beach with the fathers. We have Trent Ryan, Frank Borelli, and then both of their fathers, the 4 of them playing golf in Myrtle Beach, experiencing Myrtle Beach. It's an unbelievable video. It's very funny. It's very charming. It's very wholesome. And it really shows you that Myrtle Beach is for everyone for buddies trips. You might be looking for a ritzy trip. Maybe you're a little later in life. Maybe you got a little bit more money with your crew. You're looking to do things, like I said, a little bit ritzier, a little bit high class. Maybe you're fresh out of school. Maybe you're in your low 20s. Maybe you're college buddies. You don't have a ton of money. You want to go to Myrtle Beach. You want to have a great time, great experience. It's got everything. Myrtle Beach features more than 70 golf courses ranging from high-end top 100 courses to wide open, player-friendly courses, perfect for a laid-back round of golf. Whatever your budget is, Myrtle Beach has something for you and for your buddies. They had all the off-the-course activities that you could possibly imagine. If you want to plan a golf trip, visit playgolfmyrtlebeach.com. They have all the info on golf packages, courses, hotels, things to do in one convenient place. That's what's nice about booking a trip, playgolfmyrtlebeach.com. So if you want to visit Myrtle Beach, Play Golf Myrtle Beach is also giving away a golf trip for you and 3 buddies. They're giving it away. We have that link. It's foreplaymyrtlebeach.com. You can enter to win a 3-day, 3-round golf trip to Myrtle Beach. So go check out that website, which is Play Golf Myrtle Beach, to check out how to book a trip. And then make sure you enter because they're giving away a trip for you and 3 buddies. That's foreplaymyrtlebeach.com. Back to the Memorial. Obviously, Viktor Hovland, incredible. Denny McCarthy, kind of a weird thing that he didn't win. It felt like everything was happening that he was just going to win. It felt like he was making putt after putt on the back nine. He got the bounce on 15. Is that what the par 5 is down the stretch?
Yeah,
he got the bounce there.
Going left and kicked back in the fairway.
Hit it left into the trees and water over there and all kinds of bad stuff over there. Kicked into the fairway. Then he comes up short with his gap wedge, hits an okay bunker shot to 10, 12 feet, makes it. Then hits it great on 16, misses a short birdie putt. 17, playing really difficult, hits exactly how you're supposed to, pipes it over that bunker down the middle, hits a great iron into kind of the middle of the green. 18, it's like, okay, he's just going to get it done. And he just didn't get it done. He didn't get up and down on 18, goes into the playoff. Again, did not get up and down, lipped out a putt that looked like was going in. Hovland does, makes a big 5-6 footer, whatever that was, and wins it. So it was weird where it just felt like it was him all day. You were kind of keeping an eye on a few other guys. Maybe they'll make a run. It wasn't even like Hovland, it felt like made a run. It's like they pan to him on 17. He makes a bomb. And then you're like, oh, shit, if McCarthy makes a bogey, they're just going to have the same score right now. It's weird how it happened.
Well, Hovland was super patient in that way. Like, it would have been very easy, especially from where he was on 18. He was kind of up there in the right rough to take on that flag and try to like jam a birdie in there thinking that you need one more. But he knew that how tough 18 was playing. And he knew that, Denny's not a long hitter. So if Denny misses that fairway, it's unlikely that he's going to be able to get it to the green. So he kind of played safely right of it, left himself a manageable chip, and then handled that pretty well. Denny McCarthy is like what every person thinks their game could be if they just did. I got a text from one of my buddies. His name is Andy, and he's just like a grinder, like the grittiest grinder. Every round is the U.S. Open. He goes through his putting routine, and he to grind out an 82. And I got a text from him that made me laugh on Sunday. That was like, I want to be Denny McCarthy when I grow up. That's the guy. He's like, that guy makes every putt. He's going to grind it out no matter what. Maybe it doesn't look pretty, but he's right there. So it's fun to watch his game because there's a lot of guys where Viktor Hovland, like, he's strong and his swing is so athletic and he hits it so good. So it's cool to see a guy like McCarthy be able to contend on a big, hard golf course like that, where we think it's like ball striking. But when you're missing greens and it's as difficult as it is, and you're not able to get it close with chipping, a lot of the times you're gonna have a lot of those like 10 to 15 footers for par. And so McCarthy's played tough courses pretty well with that formula.
Scrappy game. I agree. It's achievable. We talk a lot about the difference between watching someone that it feels like you could do it. Like when I watch Brendan Todd play golf, it's like, I think I could do a version of that. That's attainable. That's obtainable. Like Denny McCarthy, that's obtainable. When you watch Rory play, when you watch Brooks Koepka play, that's not obtainable. I could never do anything close to that. I just couldn't. I cannot do it. I cannot. Rory, at one point, I watched him on Thursday or Friday, and he pulls out driver, hits this high cut, takes one hand off the club, like hated it. The thing carried like 324 and landed on the right side of the fairway and one hopped like barely into the rough. And obviously he knew he had missed the fairway the way the ball flight was, whatever. But I mean, that would have been the greatest drive I've ever struck by 100x. Like,
it would have been like, was there like a jet stream on the ball? Like people wouldn't have believed it.
I mean, this thing was in the air forever, and it was a one-handed, disgusted finish. He hated it, and I'm watching the ticker go, and that thing is flying like 100, 200, 300. I was like, and it stopped at 324 carry, I think it was, and I was like, holy shit! And it just huge one hop into the rough. Probably went 335 total. barely in the rough. He had like a wedge into a fucking 500-yard par foot, and you're just like, all right, this fucking guy is not obtainable. It's not achievable. I could never, ever, under any circumstances, do that. But when I watch Denny McCarthy, I agree with your buddy, with you, that like you get a little bit of like, okay, man, I don't have to be Denny McCarthy, but if I could play a shittier version of that, I could shoot around even par, like on an average course that we play. That's 6,600 yards. Like, how fucking hard could that be? This guy's doing it. He's 8 under, 6 under, 7 under on a course that is impossible. 7,500 yards, whatever it is. The rough's ridiculous. There's water everywhere. Chad Ramey's making 13s. He's out there. So if we play a golf course that's 1,000 yards less than that and way easier, why can't I just play a version of Denny McCarthy's game that allows me to get around in 72 or 74 instead of fucking 82? Like, how hard is that? And he's kind of you can live vicariously through him out there. So I completely agree with that. Speaking of which, we had a couple amazing instances. I wrote down the Billy Horschel bad round on Thursday and all that, which we're going to get to with him directly from him, so I don't need to get to that. But the Chad Ramey 13 that occurred on the 9th hole, it was his final hole on Thursday's round, I believe. Just one of the more shocking things I've ever witnessed was looking at the shot tracer, shot link of this. What happened? What happened?
Honestly, I've only seen the shot tracer. I don't think I saw video. But the craziest part,
I don't think they have it.
The craziest part is that he was in the middle of the fairway, right? He hit like 300 yards.
He had like 109 yards in or something.
Yeah, so he needed 12 from there, I guess. You're gonna miss the cut, and you're gonna. Was it his last hole of the 36 holes, and he was gonna miss the cut? No, it was Thursday.
Friday, but I thought it was Thursday. And I thought he was like playing fine.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think it was Thursday. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah, it's inexplicable. I don't have any words to describe it. I haven't seen it. I don't know if I really want to see it. It's kind of awkward when you see a professional golfer like in that kind of moment, because you're like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen? Is he gonna hit somebody? Is he gonna like jump into the lake? But yeah, it came and went very quietly, which is a little fishy in this day and age. Is there video?
I don't think I know I haven't seen the video. I'm trying to find out if there was one and we just didn't see it. But yeah, man, 13. I love it. I love it. I love that could just happen. You realize it. Like, we see people on 12 at Augusta just shank shots. We saw Jordan Spieth, obviously a different scenario, but he just flubbed a chip. I mean, that guy's unbelievable with a wedge. He flubbed a little wedge in 2016 when he ended up melting down and making like a 7 on the 12th hole. So you could just do it. It could happen to literally anyone. That's why I always laugh. Like, when we hit horrific shots on camera, when the kid from Good a couple of weeks ago hit that low left missile that almost killed that guy, and people were like, "Oh, there's no way this guy's like a plus handicap golfer." Like, that one shot or that one instance has nothing to do with whether if the best players literally in the world can do it and be made to look like complete idiots, then obviously the average weekend golfer or anyone that's less of a golfer than them could do it. There are videos out there of Tiger Woods in his prime topping 3 woods off the tee. I've seen it happen before. So it's like it could happen to anyone at any moment, but the 13 was shocking. That's a big number, man. 13 is a big number to make on a golf hole,
especially from 300 yards in the middle of the fairway. Usually it's on a hole where there's like OB right and water left, and you go, water OB. No, my man had like a 9-iron in with his second shot.
This Scotty Scheffler stats that are going on right now that are building up. The storyline is also one of the more perplexing things I've ever seen. Scotty Scheffler, real quick, he led the field in strokes gained off the tee. He led the field in strokes gained tee to green. He led the field in strokes gained approach the green.
That never happens on its own. That never happens on its own. You never see a guy winning all 3.
By any metric, he was dominant with a staggering 20.71 shot advantage on the field. That is the second best gain behind Vijay Singh's record mark of 21.14 in 2004 at TBC Boston. Also notoriously bad putter for a great player. Since the tour introduced the category 20 years ago, yet he lost 8.5 strokes to the field in strokes gained putting for the week. his closing 67 at Muirfield Village, which temporarily tied him for the lead at 600, was statistically awful effort on the greens as well. He made just 43 feet of putts on Sunday, which was exactly 1 foot better than his 42 feet on Thursday, yet he still shot a 67. So this guy is in a such rarefied territory right now where he is way, way, way better than anybody else in the world at ball striking right now, and horrific putting.
Yeah, he's quick to point out that there is one asterisk. He did hole out from just off the green on 8. Okay, granted, you still lost like 8 to the field, so that didn't all of a sudden make it a great. Yeah, I mean, I wrote about this in like a weird way. It almost makes me more confident that he's just going to dominate the next couple weeks or the next couple years. I think he's winning the U.S. Open again. I mean, I said that about the Masters, but I think he's winning the U.S. Open. It's like, it's one of the hardest things to do in golf. We've all been there. You're hitting it really well and you're giving yourself chances. And you just can't make a putt. And you just can't make a putt. And golf seems so hard. You're like, it's hard enough for me to get it on the green and then I can't make a straight 6-footer. How am I ever going to make a birdie? How am I ever going to make a par? Whatever your level is. And then you get frustrated and it bleeds into your full swing. That happens all the time. It's like one mistake leads to the next. That's one of golf's main challenges. It's not letting a past mistake lead to a future mistake. He's elevated his ball. It's gotten better. Because this is the second straight week it happened. It wasn't as drastic last week at Colonial, but he lost 4.5. He lost 4.5 putting, which is terrible. Those are terrific stats. If you lose over a shot around putting, you're like the worst putter on the PGA Tour. So he's done that for 2 straight weeks. And for 2 straight weeks, he missed the playoff by 1 shot. So if he putts just average, not even better than average, he would have won by 3 in Dallas and like 6 at Memorial. So instead of viewing it as like if you don't win an Augusta National without being able to putt, Scotty's been a good putter for most of his career. This is likely just a blip on the radar. The fact that he's able to maintain the ball striking shows how in control he is of his emotions. So I think he's winning the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not notoriously a bad putter, is he?
No, he's a good putter. Look, the guy won the Masters, which is, I know, there's the stats say that it's more about approach. You still got to be able to put the ball in the hole other than the 72nd hole. You still got to be able to put the ball in the hole. And it felt like last year when he was winning all that early, he was known as like a lights out putter. He was making everything. So this is just, It's a blip on the radar, but the timing is just crazy because that was a historic ball striking week. Historic.
Yeah, I'm looking like last year he was 58th in strokes gained putting. So again,
which is it's positive, right?
Yep, definitely positive. Yeah. He was positive 0.202, so he's a little bit better than field average, which again, if you hit the ball like he does, that's fine. The fact that he's even a little bit better is amazing. The year before and last year, or the 2 years prior, he was slightly negative in the right around 100th on tour in strokes gained putting, but he's always been up there in putting average, which is, I mean, when you hit the ball like he does, he's not going to have the most putts of all time. But this year he's 114th in strokes gained putting, which is not, great.
But it wasn't even that bad in the beginning of the season. Because like these, I mean, I don't know.
I actually thought he's going to be worse because those other 2 years, I mean, 114th, he's minus 0.66 is what he is against the field average, which again, that's not for the year. With those couple weeks,
that includes this past week.
I would assume that it does. I'm just on kind of his stats through the year. I'd be surprised if they haven't uploaded it this week, but that's surprising.
Yeah, no, because it's like guy won 2 tournaments earlier in the year, and he can almost win tournaments when he's putting bad. So it's really just been like it kind of started Augusta, Hilton Head. He did not putt well at Augusta, but he still finished like 7th. His 15 straight, by the way, finishes at 12th or better. 15 in a row.
Insane. With losing strokes putting for the year. So
he lost 8.5 this week.
8.5 is unbelievable. So that's unbelievable.
That's insane.
This is actually a positive conversation about Scotty Scheffler. Think about how good he is to be in a huge part of the game, struggling that much lately, and still be finishing. He finished fucking 1 shot out of a playoff. 1 shot out of a playoff on that golf course. So something to keep mind of. Rory McIlroy, right there. Bad Sunday, terrible Sunday. Didn't get it done, but something to keep an eye on again. Playing well for any golfer.
Needs to sort out those wedges. Needs to sort out the wedges badly. The wedges were horrific.
He had the one on
both par 5s on the front 9, 14, I think the drivable one.
They lay up and then they hit the
and he was so mad.
That was tough. I've never really seen him that frustrated after hitting it. He was way left. He's trying to hit a cut in there. I felt like to that back right pin. Clearly didn't get it done. Jordan Spieth tied for 5th. Adam Scott tied for 9. Or I'm sorry. Spieth T5, Adam Scott T9, Ricky T9. Nice to see. Tyrrell Hatton, who was on the show
quiet
last week.
T9.
Saw that. T12 for Tyrrell Hatton. So just a couple names there that are interesting names, notable names. Front of the program now, Tyrrell Hatton. He just shot me a DM Thursday morning that just said, what a grouping this week, because we had a very funny chat with him about how he's never on TV coverage. He's never in feature group. And then he was with Rory and Spieth or something?
Rory and Spieth. He comes over to me on the range on Wednesday and he has that look on his face, that Tyrrell look. He goes, I never fucking said that ever in any interview ever in my life. And now they give me Spieth and Rory. And he goes, surely that can be edited. I go, I don't think so, Tyrrell. I think we're keeping that one in there. So
that was great. I loved that. And yeah, again, he was great to watch. I had a bunch of people tweeting at us now. Like, I just got to see a Tyrrell Hatton club throw in person. It was negative, so beautiful. It was negative vibes only. Pin on 17 was a disgrace. Hashtag negative vibes only. I love it. So, okay. IV in a bottle. That is BioLite. That is just BioLite. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's an amazing product. You put this puppy in your golf bag. Have one maybe before you go to sleep at night, before you're around. It's going to hydrate you. Hydration is everything. We got 6.5 times, okay? 6.5 times the electrolytes that are in a normal sports drink that you're used to are in one BioLite, and they're delicious. They got all kinds of good flavors out there now. It's physician-formulated flavors, citrus, tropical, berry, melon. There's a favorite flavor for everyone to enjoy. If you're dehydrated, drink BioLite. It's IV in a bottle. Your body will thank you later. Trust me. Just drink one full cold bottle of BioLite, and your body will reap the same benefits, literally the same benefits as IV rehydration therapy in just 30 minutes or less. It works like a charm. Big sponsors of the Barstool Classic. We have these puppies at the Barstool Classic. People love them, enjoy them, put them in your body. You can just feel the different parts of your body reaching for them. They want those electrolytes. They want that hydration. They need it from your fingertips to your organs to your brain, everything. You got to have hydration. It makes everything better. It makes you feel better. It makes you be better. You just are better when you're hydrated. And BioLite's going to do that for you. It is IV in a bottle for a limited time. Get 10% off your first BioLite variety pack order at drinkbiolite.com. Use the promo code VARIETY. That's VARIETY if you do not know how to spell. Again, limited time. Get 10% off your first BioLite variety pack order at drinkbiolite.com. Use the promo code VARIETY. One of the bigger stories in golf in a while, especially in women's golf. Rose Zhang just turned pro literally last week after winning NCAA individual title back-to-back. First person to do that. I believe she won 12 of 20 starts in 2 years at Stanford playing NCAA Division I golf. Won the U.S. The Augusta National Women's Amateur. Won the NCAA title. Turns pro. Wins her first start at Liberty National. That amazing setting with the city as the backdrop. Goes into a playoff with Jennifer Kupcho, who was the first winner of the Augusta National Women's Amateur. Won her first major championship, I believe, was her first major championship last year. So, a big name out there, women's golf. Goes in, gets into a playoff against her, pulls it out on, I believe, the second playoff hole with a fantastic hybrid or 5-wood or something along those woods on the very difficult 18th hole. They're playing into the wind, hits it tight, is able to win with a 2-putt par on the playoff hole. Hasn't been done since 1951 that someone won in their first event as a professional. Tiger Woods didn't do it. Jack Nicklaus. People just don't do that. And she went out there and did it. So insanely impressive on its own. Insanely impressive when you think about the hype that she has. For years now, we've been hearing about Rose. When she started at Stanford a couple of years ago, I remember that the hype was outrageous. I remember hearing about this girl and how good she was and all of the expectations. And then to go in, she makes her announcement in the women's golf game. That was a huge announcement that she left Stanford, turning pro. So all the hype is about it. They're at Liberty National, and then she goes out there and wins the damn event. It's pretty insane when you think about it. She was trending on sports, I saw last night on Twitter, as she should be.
Yeah, she was on the Today Show this morning, and she brings an energy to women's golf that it could use. There hasn't been an American star that's kind of transcended golf, and this is not just me talking. Beth Ann Nichols, who is all over the LPGA beat, has said the same thing all week on Twitter, that we've been sort of waiting for a star to transcend. Now, whether Rose Zhang is that star, I'm not saying she's not going to be, Whether she is or not remains to be seen. But the fact that we're even having that conversation, the fact that it seemed like, a lot of people here, I'm sure, are, golf Twitter people. Golf Twitter was locked in on Rose all day. Even if she doesn't pan into the world beater that she by all accounts, she looks like she will be. I mean, she looks like someone who's going to win a lot of majors. Even if she's not, it's a huge development in and of itself to have this much energy right now. Obviously, I hope that she continues to dominate, continues to captivate, because it would be a huge boost for the women's game. But it's already a huge boost for the women's game. The win gets her immediate membership on the LPGA Tour. She can now be on the Solheim Cup team, which it sure seems like she's going to be on the Solheim Cup team. And the craziest part is that after the tournament, there were the AJGA players who were playing, which was probably one of the reasons why it took 5 hours and 45 minutes. It was horrendously slow. It was horrendously slow. I don't want to, this should be about Rose, but it was horrendously slow.
You had to have a second TV going. You had to have a second TV going.
She was waiting on watching the wait on 18 was actually like
20 minutes.
She's there in the bunker, and I get it, there's a ruling going on, but they were waiting on every shot. She's sitting there waiting, trying to win her first tournament for 15 minutes. It was horrendously slow. But so after the tournament, the AJGA players were playing, and a bunch of them came over to congratulate her because they're like friends with her. They were just playing with her like a couple years ago. She won NCAAs 2 weeks ago. She's a sophomore. She's 20. So yeah, it's really cool to see that much energy. I was locked in.
Yeah, I'll say too. I mean, in terms of the magnitude of it, how big it is in the sports world, in the golf world. Tiger Woods has 1, 2, 3 tweets since April 27th. Okay, April 27th. So it's like a month and a half ago almost. Didn't tweet about Brooks Koepka winning. I think we could all figure out why. He tweeted about his father, Memorial Day. And then he tweeted, the next tweet was about Rose Zhang. And then he tweeted today about a Pop Stroke event. So 3 tweets since April 27th. And one of them he wrote yesterday, incredible few weeks for Rose Zhang, defends her NCAA title, and then wins in her pro debut, go card. Obviously, he's a Stanford guy as well, so there's a connection there. But huge in the golf world, huge in the sports world. The women's game especially, needs a star. I think it helps a lot that you've got an American star. She's from California, Stanford, the whole deal. And with all that hype, and how dominant her amateur career was, maybe the best amateur, I believe, in like women's golf history, comes out, wins her first pro start. So incredible how she kept it together. It's amazing in golf how difficult it is to win for everyone, for anyone, no matter how well you're playing, no matter how many times you've won before. And what really separates folks, that's why I was amazed that like Denny McCarthy didn't get it done, because it felt like he was doing all the things, even when you're struggling to get it done. That she, at the Augusta National Women's Amateur, blew like a 5 or so shot lead, or maybe even more, went into a playoff, won in the playoff. At NCAA, she didn't start off particularly well. I think she was 4 shots back or so going into the final round, got it done, and won. Yesterday at her first pro tournament at Liberty National, she bogeyed the 72nd
20 holes, no birdies.
No birdies, so she clearly doesn't have her best after shooting, making a million birdies, chipping in the whole deal throughout the week. Doesn't have her best, tough conditions. She keeps it together, makes a huge 12-footer on 17 after missing a very, very short birdie on 16 that would have locked things up. Bogey's 18, when all she had to do was, get in, make that par. She wins. She has got all the pressure, and then is able to regroup, goes par, made a huge par putt on the first playoff hole and gets it done. And that is just... It's not like you're playing perfect, and Brooks Koepka's that way, right? Like at Bethpage Black, I remember that, where it's like he was struggling, man, after not struggling all week, after it being over. It was Brooks Koepka's week. DJ makes a little bit of a charge. Brooks is kind of struggling, and then he just gets it done, figures out a way to get it done. And she reminds me of that in a lot of ways, where it's like 3 of these big events that we've seen her in, 2 as in amateur events, now here in her first pro event, even without her best stuff, even without going out and shooting like 64 in the final round. She just figures it out and gets it done. That is like mixing grittiness with just also having the top tier talent. So yeah, she's really, I'll just put it bluntly, she's really fucking impressive, and she's 20 years old.
She is one Roseanne thing I want to get out there. She's got one of my favorite stats. I know it's for the women. I believe it's for the men too. She's the only golfer to have won the U.S. Junior and the U.S. Amateur in reverse order. She won the U.S. Amateur and then won the U.S. Junior after, which I think is sick.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, What was crazy too was the Anna Davis out there playing in the AJGA, and she won the Augusta National Women's Amateur 2 years ago. So it's like these, right? Like the ages and when they're able to accomplish stuff and is nuts. So that is absolutely hilarious.
I love that stat. I just love that stat.
She's phenomenal. So it'll be fun to watch the whole, I imagine she'll make it on that Solheim Cup team. And yeah, there's a star has emerged. She got it done. Incredible pressure, incredible expectations. Bang, gets the win. So very, very, very impressive.
Figure out pace of play though. LPGA 5 hours and 40 minutes. We can't threesomes.
I get the juniors out there was definitely making it slower, and it was huge for them. It's a big title for them. So it's not like they could just exit stage left, but boy, it
impacted the viewing experience.
Oh yeah, big time. It was just slow as fuck. It was incredibly slow, and you're like, especially late in a tournament when there's like 4 balls out there.
That's
right. They narrow the focus, pretty early on a Sunday in a final round to a handful of players, but then they really narrow it. There's only a couple people on the golf course, and it took them 45 minutes to play like the last couple holes. That was insane.
That was tough.
I felt bad for her, and then she makes the bogey, and you're like, dude, if she was able to be in a rhythm, I don't know that happens, but she got it done. It was very, very cool, and she's badass, so will be fun to watch going forward. Last thing, we got to make the Fore The Cut bets for this week. RBC Canadian Open, Barstool Sportsbook. We love the Barstool Sportsbook. Been hot on that bad boy ever since my Brooks Koepka bet, my biggest win ever. So now I got a nice little bankroll going to the US Open, going to the Canadian Open. I saw Mr. Ice has the over in the Vegas Knights Florida Panthers game tonight, 5.5. So I'm on that. People will know if that hit or not already. And then I did pick the Panthers to win the series and win the Stanley Cup. I think they're plus 110. So I'm hoping that pans out as well. Shout out to the Barstool Sportsbook. We got the Fore The Cut bet, which did not hit last week. Is that correct? Unless I missed it.
Yeah, I think your guy.
Who did I pick?
Actually, no. I think Jason Day missed the cut too. You're fine. Jason Day missed the cut too.
Fuckers. All right, we're back. We got from Trent Ryan, I believe, Tommy Fleetwood. We got Adam Hadwin, Canadian guy. So we're up in Canada from Frank Borelli III. Dan, who is your pick this week?
My pick is Sam Bennett. We all remember Sam Bennett from the Masters. He turned professional. He made the cut at the Memorial. Not a great weekend. Let's just call it what it was. Not a great weekend. He was the feel-good story at the Masters. Now it's time to sink or swim, buddy. You're getting the call up to Fore The Cut. This is a big moment. Your second career start as a professional. Fore The Cut. Sam Bennett is the pick.
So we're gonna get some odds. Get some odds. I'm going, and I'm making sure he's actually in the field, which I believe that he is. I'm going with Kevin Chappell.
Okay.
Kevin
playing well
Chappell,
today. I think he's playing. Is he playing in one of the things?
He's playing U.S. Open qualifying today. I believe he's playing I'm not sure exactly where he's playing, but I thought he was. He told me the reason I'm picking him is because I played with him about a week ago out at Whisper Rock, and he hit it incredibly well. He was hitting it really, really good. And then he was telling me his upcoming plans were that he was going to hit a Monday stop en route to Canada. I think he was hitting maybe the Springfield stop, but I'm not 100% sure. We could clearly look it up right now. But anyways, he was going to hit U.S. Open qualifying and then go on to the Canadian Open. And he was like fourth alternate for the Canadian Open. And he's like, a bunch of people drop out after, during, or before U.S. Open qualifying. And so I believe there's a really good chance that I'll get in. So that's why I was trying to confirm that I got in. I looked it up. Looks like he's in the field. So I'm going Kevin Chappell is my pick. He hit the ball incredibly well when we played like a week ago. Great guy. He went through a bunch of injury stuff. And he's, working on making his way back. And yeah, he hit the ball fucking phenomenally. And I like Chappell a lot. He's a great guy. So I'm going Kevin Chappell.
Beauty. Let's have a week.
Sam Bennett. All right. We're going to now throw it to Billy Horschel. I teased it at the beginning. He's become a big-time friend of the program. Wears his heart on his sleeve out there. Had a viral moment in the golf world last week that I think made him a bunch of fans. So we're going to catch up right now with Billy Ho. If you listened to this show before, you've probably heard me talk about Simply Safe. They were named Best Home Security of 2023. Best Home Security of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. They're probably resting on their laurels, right? No, definitely not. They're always innovating, always improving, always working on becoming even better than they were, even though they're already the best. always working on the next thing to keep you and your loved ones safe 24/7, like their new 2-in-1 smoke and CO detector. It's next generation hazard detection that distinguishes between fire and cooking smoke, so your home is protected and you get fewer false alarms. We've all been there before. Somebody's cooking, obviously, turns into a fire alarm situation. Nobody wants that, especially when you got Simply Safe. They figured it out. They continue to innovate. That's why they've got their new 2-in-1 smoke and CO detector. Their new smoke and CO detector sensor joins Simply Safe's comprehensive suite of advanced security cameras, sensors, and hazard detectors for seamless whole home monitoring. Simply Safe is easy to set up yourself, or you can have a certified technician install it for you. Again, Simply Safe. They're called Simply Safe because it's very simple to keep everybody safe. Right now, get 20% off your new system when you sign up for interactive monitoring. Visit simplysafe.com/foreplay. That is Simply Safe. That's SIMPLISAFE.com/foreplay. There's no safe like Simply Safe. All right, folks, we're joined by Billy Horschel, big friend of the program over the last year. Obviously, we took him down barely at TBC Sawgrass. We tried to blow it, but spent a good amount of time with him. You went pretty viral on Thursday in an interesting and I would say overall incredible way. Now it's been a few days. I kind of hit you up and was like, dude, I'd love to get you on, just talk about life and everything else. So, how's your weekend? How's our headspace right now?
Yeah, listen, it was Thursday was a bad day of golf, and I've received a ton of outpouring and a ton of messages. That's been unbelievable. As I've said, I mean, the message that a lot of people have said or sent has been about pretty much everything the same. I think the thing that's been so special is that people just reached out. Like, just reaching out goes a long way. It doesn't even have to be about the message itself, but just taking time out of their day to reach out to, just check on me or tell me, how good I was, or, this is just temporary, whatever the message was. It just meant a lot to me. And listen, as I said, I fight hard and I will always fight, but it wasn't just one day of golf that made me, sort of somewhat break down right there in front of the media. I had talked about the day before with some of the guys that were in that room about where my game was at, how tough of a year it's been. And that's what really led to that situation, was that it's been a tough, roughly 6 months for me in golf. Let's just say that, in golf, because that's only where it's been. When you work really hard, you have a lot of passion for something, and you feel like you're doing the right things, you're putting in the time, you're consistently doing everything the way you want, and you're not getting the results you want out of it, or not getting anything you want out of it, it wears on you. It doesn't matter what it is, if it's golf, if it's your job, if it's life, everyone has these situations. And I just had mine, more in a public forum. I felt somewhat embarrassed shooting 84 after being defending champ. It was one of those days, and I have a great support system around me. I've talked about with my team about how tough a year it's been, and we've had many conversations about it. It just haven't talked about it publicly. And the other thing too, I mean, I'm honest. I get asked questions all the time, and I give an honest response, and I've always been that way. And sometimes, I probably shouldn't give an honest response, in certain other situations. And in that situation, I think it was great that I gave an honest response, and shared what, I've been feeling. And I'm not the only golfer on the PGA Tour going through this. There's so many other guys over the years that have had these, struggles and these battles. And so I'm not the first guy. I won't be the last guy. I just, was in a more of a public eye because of being defending champ, and got some questions asked afterwards that I wasn't, I wasn't afraid to share what I was feeling and where I was.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's funny because you talked about how you're obviously an open, honest guy. You've always been that way. You wear your heart on a sleeve, and we, on the other side of things, in the media, I guess people do consider us media at this point. We're a little bit hypocritical in that. If players are a little too robotic, we think they're boring, and if players just give a media trained answer, we're like, that's bullshit. They're not being honest. And then when they are honest, people sometimes can jump down your throat. So I feel like it's a very tricky kind of rope to walk.
It is. And, listen, I'm a golf fan. I've been a golf fan since I was a little kid. And so I'm living a dream to be able to play the PGA Tour. But when I watch golf, I loved watching Tiger because you saw the rawness, you saw the emotion, you saw the anger and the frustration when he didn't hit good shots. You saw the jubilation and the joy when he pulled a shot off or he made a putt. Like, I love those guys. I honestly love those guys. I didn't like guys, and I didn't resonate with guys that were just straight lace, robotic, gave the simple, basic answers, didn't really share too much. Somewhat, I'm not going to say they were afraid to go out on a limb, but they didn't go out on that limb. They didn't go out on that walk, that boardwalk, and take that, chance that they may, take some shots back for something they said or something. So, and that's the way, like, I am. I'm out there. Like, this is me. You either like it or you don't. Like, it doesn't bother me. I'm honest, and I just got to be true to myself. In the day, I've got to look in the mirror and say, was I true to who I want to be? Did I give off the perception? Did I do the things that I wanted to do that makes me be able to sleep well at night?
Were you surprised that there was a media request after the round? Because typically when guys go out there and don't post a great round, you go out, you shoot 84. I'm terrified, like, if Kiz or one of the guys shoots a good round in a tournament, we've been in those little scrums to make a media request because you kind of are like, hey, man, I'm going to make you do media for X amount of time. That's not typical. So were you surprised that there was a media request?
At the time, I just got done signing my scorecard. I sat there in the scoring area for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then when I got up, the media person for the PGA Tour, just sort of said, "Hey, Billy, you mind answering some questions?" And listen, no one wants to ask anyone when they shoot 84 to ask questions. Doesn't matter who you are.
They're not going to ask, like, what'd you eat for breakfast this morning?
Yeah, exactly. The media person who's asking for the media, the media official who's asking for the media, I know that's a tough job at any time to ask a player that, especially after shooting 84. But I don't think I've ever turned down a media request. If someone wants to ask me a question, I feel like I'm obligated to answer that question, whatever that question may be. And so they asked me the guy, Rob, who works for the Columbus Dispatch, who I've had a couple conversations with over the last couple of weeks. He just asked me about the Florida Gators winning the national title the night before, this and that. And then he asked the big question, what went wrong today? Like, where are you at this point? Because he was one of the guys who was in the media interview the day before, asking me some questions about my game and everything. And I was, being honest of where my game has been at that point in my, the year. And so he wanted to see where I was now. And so, I don't fault anyone for, and there is no one at fault for wanting to, ask questions of it. So, yeah, I mean, I like I said, I mean, if a media person wants to ask me some questions, I feel like, hey, I want to help them out. They're doing their job. I'm trying to do my job. If I can, do something that helps them out, then maybe something down the road when I need some help, they sort of have my back a little bit in any situation.
So you obviously mentioned a lot of people reached out to you personally, and that's incredible. I'm not surprised by it. A lot of people posted some stuff publicly too. I'm going to read a couple things real quick. Aaron Fleener, who's a big friend of the program, JT Poston's caddy, he wrote, he probably won't even remember this year, but during the final round of the Masters this year, which was a 27-hole day, it was a little bit of a slug out there. Billy was struggling, but JT was playing well. moving up the board. Billy could have moped. He could have pouted all the way around, could have kept to himself. It would have been very understandable. He didn't do that. He encouraged JT the entire round, telling him great shot, great putt, genuinely rooted him on the entire time. That was all I needed to know, what kind of guy he is. Harry Higgs, another friend of the program, he wrote, Billy Horschel spent a few minutes congratulating me Saturday morning for making the cut. This was his first Masters where he made the cut. He goes on to say, nobody talks those mornings. It would have been really easy for him to just keep his head down. He'll be back in no time, Billy. What kind of feeling do you get when you see people kind of reaching out, posting stories like that about you?
It's pretty, it's special. I mean, for those guys that take time to post that on a social media forum to let, the world know, or whoever's watching, what they have seen of me and the way I've handled myself. I mean, it means I'm doing the right things. It means the things that, may not always be seen, the little things in life, the little things on the golf course, how you treat people, how you support your fellow competitors out there, even though you're going, head to head on a weekly basis. It means I'm doing the right things. And yeah, I mean, it's special. It's special. I mean, like I said, I thank those guys for going out and posting on social media.
How often or how hard is it for you to not think about your golf swing right now?
I'm like Max Homa. Max Homa and I are very similar, and his caddy Joe, I think said this a couple of years ago. He said, I watch you two on the range, and he'll stop and he'll watch you hit balls for a few minutes, and then you're stop and you watch him hit balls for a few minutes, and you both to try and see what the other one's doing, maybe pick something out that may help you. And Max and I have talked about this, and since it's tough for me to turn it off, the game of golf, and not think about how I can try and get better. Think about the golf swing. Look at videos from 10 years ago. Look at videos from 5 years ago. Look at videos from 2 weeks ago. Always just trying to get better, especially when your game's not at the spot you want it to be. It just I just have a relentless desire to be good and to get better, and I just won't stop until I achieve it.
It's funny, you mentioned earlier, you're talking about how you're a huge fan of the game, and you just mentioned Max. I remember we filmed our video, and it was that night. It was a Saturday, because it was a Saturday finish for the PGA Tour. So it was when Max won at the Farmers, and we were watching, having a drink at TBC Scottsdale or TBC Sawgrass. And I remember it was so fun for us as golf, nuts and huge fans of the game, to sit there and watch that final round with you. And you're commenting shot after shot. And the second that Max struck the golf ball and they kind of showed the ball speed, you knew exactly how far it was going to carry and how into it you were, and the strategy. For us as fans of the game, like, we love when guys like you that are in the arena, that are at, the top level of the game, are seemingly as big of fans as we are. I think that is very magnetic for a lot of golf fans, because you're watching it just like us. You're as into it as we are, even though you're not playing that week. And I think we love guys that are just fans of the game of golf.
Yeah, I've always watched golf, and I've said it for many years. If I'm not the top, I've got to be in the top 5 of most watched golf of any tour player on the PGA Tour, whether it's PGA Tour golf, Korn Ferry Tour golf, Champions Tour golf. My wife and I were watching LPGA last night, watching Rose Zhang, win.
How amazing was that?
Unbelievable. I think she's only 20 years old, and what she's done in junior golf and college golf, and what she did in her first professional game of golf, a tournament. It's unbelievable. Amazing talent. She is she's got that ability that she could be one of those once in a generational type of golfers, once in generational type of athletes. And LPGA is in a really good spot now, but imagine her coming into this game, and you got Nelly Korda, and you got the Jessica Korda, and you've got Brooke Henderson, and you got Minjee Lee in there too. There's so many top women golfers right now, but then you throw Rose Zhang in that pot. I mean, that's going to do some wonders for the LPGA Tour, and it's going to help them out tremendously. So, like I said, I love the game of golf. I mean, people that are around me know how much I love it, not just from how much I watch it, but just loving to help juniors out and being around the game of golf. Like, that's the thing that that's the passion. I said, I love what I do, and I have a passion for not only what I do, but I have a passion for the game of golf, and I will always have that.
Take on the sun with gear built to last. We're talking about Shady Rays. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather. We're now into late spring, early summer, ahead with premium polarized shades and an affordable price. Shady Rays, they're an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we have ever worn ever. We got durable frames, extremely clear optics for all your outdoor adventures. Rock them on the golf course. I understand people sometimes don't want to wear sunglasses on the golf course. It can affect your depth perception, the way that you see the golf course. Maybe things aren't lighted up properly, whatever it might be. Shady Rays takes care of all that. They actually make it better. They got polarized sunglasses. So go check out Shady Rays. It doesn't stop at the quality. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. Each pair of their sunglasses are backed by their lost and broken program. So if you lose or break your pair, even on day 1 or year 2, they will send you a brand new pair of Shady Rays. Shady Rays is providing much needed support to nonprofit partners across the U.S. through Shady Rays Impact. And then exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. So pay attention. Go to shadyrays.com. Use the code FORE, F-O-R-E, for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. So again, go to shadyrays.com. Use the code FORE for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. So, about this time last year, you, I believe, reached your highest in the world rankings. You won the Memorial by, I think, 4. It's only a year later. We see all the time on tour. We see huge swings from round to round. We see huge swings week to week. I feel like we get every year, we get a few winners that they've missed 2, 3, 4 cuts in a row, and then they go out and they win. So does a part of you feel like you're close, even though people might not think you're close?
Yeah, listen, I think I'm closer now than I was a couple months ago. And I don't think I'm that far off. I mean, my short game's still been in a really good spot all year. My putting's been, pretty solid all year. Those numbers may not be nearly as good as years past because the ball striking has been so poor that it's tough, to, have, decent stats in the other 2 areas because you're always putting yourself behind the 8 ball a lot of those times. But yeah, I don't think I'm that far off. And I said in my interview, and I heard Justin Thomas say something at the PGA, and I think it was something along the lines like, it's amazing because you can feel like you're so far from being where you want to be, but at the same time you feel like you're so close to being, to figuring it out. And I do feel like I'm that, even though I feel like I'm so far from where I want my game to be, from where I would like it to be, but at the same time, I don't feel I'm that far off. I feel like I'm just need, this swing to be a touch better. I just need to hit a few more quality golf shots on a regular basis, and then once that happens, the confidence starts to grow, and then you start going to the place you want to be confidence wise, and then you take off, and like you said, you wonder why guys can miss 2, 3, 4 cuts in a row, and they wind up finding something. Next thing you know, they may win the next week, or they finish top 10 and then they win. And it changes that quickly. And this game of golf is, and this is why it's so crazy. I mean, it does people's head in because you could be so far away from it, and then in a split second, bam, you've got it again, and you feel like you're not going to ever lose it. Something like Brooks Koepka said. I mean, watching his Netflix thing and seeing his interviews and everything, he's talked about it when he was going through his spell the last 18 months or so. He said when you lost it, you feel like you're never going to get it back. And when you have it, you feel like you're never going to lose it.
It's funny. I think that I loved the story. I loved the video and all the footage went viral. I love that everybody chimed in. And I was thinking a lot about why. And it's because no matter what, right? Like golf is a game that is so unique and that fans of the game play the game. right? If you're a football fan, it's unlikely that you go play football every Saturday or Sunday. If you're a golfer, you play golf. You think about your swing. There's all kinds of funny footage on viral golf accounts of people while they're pumping gas, they're out there, shadow swinging, and they're looking at where they're at in their backswing. And that clip was just so relatable of like, I feel like I'm close, but I just shot 84. Like I don't quite know. And we had, one of our favorite lines from the show years ago, we had Matthew Fitzpatrick on, and we were talking about his relationship with his buddies who play golf. And he would say a couple times a year, his buddy would always text him like, I'm back. Like, I'm on the range and I'm back. And he's like, his buddy who's like a 10 handicap or whatever, but would be like, watch out, Matty, I got it. I'm back. And we always laugh and text each other that too, because it's whether you're a 20 handicap, 10 handicap, or, somebody used to be the 11th ranked player in the world. It's like you could embarrass yourself out there, but the last couple holes, there were a couple things in your swing that you had. And that night when you're driving home, you're like, these guys don't know it, but like I found something. I'm right there. And I just think that in this game, that'll drive you nuts. And like, dude, it drives us nuts. And our scores don't matter. They mean nothing. It doesn't dictate our standing. It doesn't dictate how, where we have a job. It doesn't dictate our income level. It literally means nothing how we shoot. And it drives me and Frankie and Dan, Trent, everybody listening. It drives us crazy. So now I can't even imagine the pressures and the stresses of like, when this is your livelihood, this is something you've spent so much time. And, the worst thing that could happen, my buddy Thomas, who's a caddy at Pioneer, said the worst thing that can ever happen to a golfer is that they play well. Because the first time you play really well, you chase that every time. And you're so rattled when you play like shit. And so, again, just to have the compounding pressures of you doing it for a living, having been there before, FedEx Cup champion, won on tour many, many times, and like to be there, I just think it was very relatable to every level of golfer to see somebody that open and emotional about the game.
Yeah, I think, like I said, all the messages I've got and all the social media messages I read, you hit it on the nail. Everyone's been there. If they play the game of golf, doesn't matter what level it's at. And listen, and some of those social media messages I did read. Listen, there's about a few that weren't very positive. Let's just say there's always someone who wants to take shots and everything. And listen, I live a great life. My life is really, really good. I get to play golf on the PGA Tour that I dreamed about, that I wanted to do when as a kid. I've got a healthy wife and kids. I mean, yes, I'm going to be okay. And they're like, well, he's going to be okay. He's got millions of dollars and he's got a beautiful wife and beautiful kids and lives in a multi-million-dollar house or whatever it is. Like, yes, I'm very fortunate and I do not take anything for granted. But at the same time, I have a passion and love for the game of golf. And I have a passion and a love for how great can I be at this game of golf. And I'm going to put everything I can into it to achieve that. And that's what I've always wanted to do in the game of golf, is see how great I can be. How many wins can I have on tour? How can I stack up myself compared to the other players in the game of golf? And it's no different than an amateur golfer. It's if it's you and your buddies, like, I want to be better than my buddy. I want to beat my buddy. I want to see how good I can get in this game of golf. And everything's relative. Like if you're a 10 handicapper, you want to get down to 7 handicap. If you're a 20 handicapper, you want to get down to a 15 handicap. If you got a buddy who always beats you, all you want to do is beat that buddy one time. And then once you beat him one time, you want to beat him 2 times. You want to beat him again. So it's just one of those things that, yeah, I mean, what I said, and I was honest and I was from the heart. And as everyone says, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and but I can see how it resonated with so many people. And like I said, I had a lot of people reach out to me from all walks of life that truly appreciated it. And as I told a lot of them, like, guys, I'm okay. My confidence is down. The game of golf is beating the shit out of me right now. But mentally, I know I'm in a good headspace. Life is good. Everything's good. Golf is just beating me down a little bit. And I've taken a lot of punches over the last 6 months compared to, the punches I've taken over the 14 years as a professional golfer, and the 4 years before that as a collegiate golfer. So I haven't had to take a lot of punches in my 18 years of playing at a really high level. I'm having to take them right now, and I'm dealing with it, and we'll come back out and we'll keep punching, and at the end of the day, we'll be the one standing, hopefully, when it's all said and done.
Yeah, look, there's always going to be haters out there. Haters mean you're doing something right. All the stuff you mentioned, you get great house, you made millions of dollars, like you earned all that, you made all that happen. Nobody gave you shit. So I'm glad you're able to obviously have that perspective and understand. And look, like being emotional, being upset about if you're not playing well, like you put years and years and blood, sweat, tears. You're out in the heat in Florida, which is not my favorite place in the world, grinding, trying to find it. And like when it's not going well, and you're emotional about it, you're stressed about it, you're not feeling good about it, like that means you care. Like that's the whole, what's the point getting up in the morning? What's the point of life? It's all relative, like you said. It just means you care. That means you've got passion towards it. And like you get one shot at this life. And like if you're not passionate about something, you don't care about something, like you're gonna find a really tough way to justify really doing anything. So it's like that just means that you care. And I think again, like we all care about our games. We all feel like we care about our games that much, and our games suck and don't matter. And yours actually matters.
Yeah, listen. Everybody's games matter. My game mattered because I do it financially. That's what I do. That's listen. That's what I've done for 14 years. That's how I've supported my family. And like I said, I'm good. Money's never been the driving force for me in the game of golf by a long shot. But I saw this. Two of my buddies, Kevin and Matt, sent me this Steve Jobs clip, and I'm not going to do a good job of, sort of remembering all of it. But Steve Jobs sort of said, when you care about something and you want to see something through, and you start finding that little bumpy spot, and you continue to push through it, that means you have a passion for it. When you don't really want to wake up and do it anymore, you're like, that means you just don't care for it. Like you don't have a passion for whatever that is in your life, whether it be, golf, whether it be the job you have, whether it be, painting and painting. Like if you really care about painting and painting, like, and you want to see it through, like you're going to make sure that painting's perfect and done the right way because you have a passion for painting. You wake up, it's like you wake up, eat, breathe, sleep, everything. For something that you love so much, that means you're passionate about it. No different than you guys, and obviously your guys' golf game, but what you've done with foreplay and the success you guys have had from, starting 5 years ago, 6 years ago, however long it's been now, to where you guys are and the success you guys have had. Listen, you guys aren't satisfied with where you guys are at with foreplay. You guys want to make it bigger, better. You guys want to be better, with what you guys are intending to make foreplay is. You guys have a vision for that. You guys have a future and plan for that. So it means you're passionate about it and you guys want to work hard and make it the best it can be. So at the end of the day, like I love being around people that are passionate about something. Doesn't matter what it is.
You should see like our group text gets real fiery when we think like if we're slipping or if somebody does something that is, better than what we're doing, or if people come after us for anything, like we get real fire about it. We want to be the best. We want to do, and like you said, there's that passion around it. Like you should see my dad go skiing with my dad every year for a couple of days. And like, if he skis a ski run, what he feels like he skied it like shit, he's pissed. And he's like, my dad's almost 70 years old. He's out there and he's like, I skied that like an asshole. And it's like, you just want to be good at stuff. So I'm like, Dad, it's a miracle that we're out here skiing. This is great. But I totally get it. It's like, you want to be good at stuff. When you do it, you put the time in and all that. So again, I thought it was totally relatable. And I loved it. I thought it showed a lot about who you are, which is cool.
And I appreciate that. And, we live in a world today now where, and I'll bring it up, mental health is such a big issue. And people being in a space that, they feel comfortable in and everything. And I think, for the most part, I try to tell people, and one of our pillars are my wife's and I foundation, the Horschel Family Foundation, is addiction and mental health because of my wife's alcoholism and everything that she went through. But just sharing, like having someone there just to, listen and maybe help is massive in someone's mental health. And I'm fortunate enough that I have a great wife and a team around me that I can share that with. Like, before that situation, like they knew what I was going through and they knew the thoughts in my head and where I was mentally and everything. But, sharing that publicly with people where my confidence was and how down I, can be, with the game of golf, but I'm still going to come out fighting every day. I'm still going to give my all. And I still feel like I feel like I'm right on the precipice of breaking through this little rut that I'm in. I can understand why that relates with people. And that's, one of the reasons why I am as open as I can, as much as I can be on a regular basis, is for what my wife went through with her alcoholism and her addiction and how open they have to be. But just seeing how open, someone can be in a public forum can help so many other people around them that they would never know how that could help someone. Just by sharing, what they may be going through or how bad they may be playing at the time. So it's been a really cool, 4 or 5 days. And like I said, it was, I didn't tell this story, that it was about 9:00 on Thursday night, and I had a couple text messages come through from people. And so, saying, hey, hope you're doing well. You're going to get this back. And someone may saw my score. Someone may have read some transcripts. And then right before, like I said, I went to bed, like got all these text messages from these other people. I'm like, uh-oh. Not that I said, uh-oh. I was like, oh, wow, I think my interview went public. And she's like, what do you mean? And I said, well, I think my interview that I gave after the round hit social media. And so my wife hadn't seen it. I didn't tell her, what happened after the round. And so, she saw it and she's like, oh, I love you. Gave me a hug. I'm like, I'm good. Just, being a wife, making sure her husband was okay, which I was. But she understood. She's like, wow, this is gonna, hit a lot of people and touch a lot of people. And so, yeah, it's sort of surreal how much traction, how big this thing has grown, over the last, 24, 48 hours after it happened, but still even going into the last couple of days that people reached out and still talking about it. It's, I mean, I'm happy it happened because I think a lot of people are going to, be able to get help from, me just being more open.
It's amazing, isn't it, that in this world that it's like a career low point is one of the more positively impactful things probably that you've ever done. It's crazy.
Oh, no doubt about it. And I think that's the thing that's so surreal about this entire thing. It's not like I was trying to bring attention to how bad I've been playing or the stuff right. I've been going through. I just shared something open and honestly, and people have been open and honest back with their support and they're, wanting to just, help out somebody else.
All right, folks, we're here to talk about the Barstool Sportsbook. We talk about a lot on the show, but there's nothing like having skin in the game. It's the best. That's why the last several weekends, including the PGA Championship, where I had my biggest wagering victory ever, went into the weekend. Maybe some of the wagers that I'd placed weren't in great shape. Threw some on Brooks Koepka. I had a horse throughout the weekend, and it made it infinitely more exciting, and it paid off. We're talking Barstool Sportsbook. I looked right now, and I just parlayed because I took the Florida Panthers to win the Stanley Cup. I took the over tonight. I just parlayed that over. So I got the Panthers winning tonight, and I got that parlay. And we're looking at, and I got the over. We're looking at plus 325. It's one of my favorite features of the Barstool Sportsbook app. You can parlay all kinds of different things. You can have fun with it. Many sports, as you can imagine, they're on the Barstool Sportsbook app. So download and sign up for the Barstool Sportsbook today. You got to be 21 plus to enter. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Barstool Sportsbook. Get involved this week for the RBC Canadian Open, for the U.S. Open next week. Have some skin in the game. Barstool Sportsbook's the best way to do it. So we're a week away from major championship, U.S. Open. What's this next week look like for you?
Yeah, we're gonna start practicing again tomorrow. I'll work with my teacher starting Thursday, but I'll have lunch with him probably tomorrow. We've talked about some things Friday night about just what we're trying to work on in the swing, what's not feeling right, what's not working. And like I said, we're not far off. But we've got a couple ideas to try and get this thing back on the right track. The thing is, like, we know what we need to do. We know what the swing needs to look like, how it technically needs to work, how it technically needs to feel, what it needs to feel like for me. It's just sort of matching up those little pieces right now, just so, those feels and technically can be, more repeatable on a regular basis. And, to be a little bit more clear on that, my rhythm is really bad. I've got a fast-paced swing already as it is, but I think that's been a hindrance. How fast the club goes off the ball, how fast the transition is, causes a lot of issues. And then I just think, from there, when it gets quick, the club gets behind me, and then it doesn't allow me for the club to feel out in front of me and allow me to hit, sort of a cover cut the way I want. And so, like I said, we don't know. It's not like we don't know what the issues are or what we're trying to do. We're just trying to figure out the pieces and what works and is going to, continue to work on a more regular basis and under pressure more often.
It's funny. That's like the biggest thing I get online, because I post my game all the time and people are always commenting like, Riggs, I don't get it. Why are you doing this and not that? I'm like, no, I know that. I'm trying to do that. In my mind, I'm doing it just like Tiger Woods. I'm trying. But
yeah.
It's like, I just can't fucking do it. I want to do it really badly. I just can't do it.
It's the game is crazy like that. What you feel and what you think you're doing is nowhere close. And so when I feel like I have a good rhythm and the transition is smooth and the club's not bouncing at the top, it's still not even close to what I want what we need it to be under pressure, a little bit. And so the club, on the range, the club gets deep enough in my backswing, which allows me to have more time to, swing my arms down and be a little smoother in transition. When I get on the golf course, the club gets too vertical and doesn't get deep enough. And then I sort of have to lay the club down to shallow it too much. And then that causes a whole bunch of other issues. So what we can do, what it does on the range and in practice looks really good, and it's somewhat repeatable, and the ball's doing what I want on the range. It just hasn't really sort of transitioned to the golf course, which is a frustrating thing, as any golfers knows, because they, you see it all the time. Man, I'm hitting it really good on the range today. I'm going to go play a great round of golf. And next thing you know, 3 holes into the round, they're like, fuck, I'm not doing anything.
I haven't hit one even close to
what I did on the range. Exactly. So we've all been there as golfers.
How can you, is there any, as somebody who has been at the top of the game, you're still, I believe, like 38th ranked player in the world. What has worked for you before on trying to learn how to simulate pressure or take it from the range, from practice to in the arena under, the biggest pressure you can have?
Yeah. I do a lot of things short game wise and putting wise that allows me to replicate the pressure that, somewhat of the pressure I may feel on a putt or a short game shot, trying to have to make X putts out of so many putts before I can move on to the next drill. And, if you got that last putt and if you make it, then you're done with that drill. But if you don't, you have to restart that drill all over. That's creating pressure. Same thing in chipping. It's no different in my range sessions with, TrackMan and work on distance control and stuff like that. If I don't hit that number, I've got to redo that TrackMan drill again. So that's a lot of things that I do, that I call, that's not like sort of like a block, just straight technical practice. It's sort of more like game, pressure situations. I do a lot of that. And when I get out on the course, then I just tell myself, hey, this is no different. I've done it on the putting green. I've done it on the chipping green. I've done it on the range. Like, I can hit this shot because I've practiced this week for that. I've done this for the last couple of weeks. These are what I've been doing to prepare for these kinds of shots and these kinds of moments. Now, that doesn't always mean you're going to, be successful on the course, but the more you can try and create pressure in your practice and sort of replicate that, the better a chance, I believe, that's how I've been successful, is the better. That's how it is. The more I've done that in my practice and creating pressure, that's allowed me to be successful, in my career doing that. Now, that doesn't work for everybody. I've talked to Jordan Spieth about it. He tries to do some of that stuff in his practice, but it just doesn't replicate over. So his deal is to create, to handle the pressures is to make sure he's playing the week before a major or something, because he feels like he gets more out of that being in more true pressure situations and trying to replicate that in practice.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I guess that makes sense, because if you could just practice for a couple weeks straight and it doesn't translate for you, then practice is almost meaningless. If you get out on the course and you're like, yeah, we're just not doing it like we were on the range.
Yeah.
It's not good for anybody.
And everybody, like I said, every golfer is different. They got to figure out what works for them. But for me, I know that there's two things. If I do my, game situation, game drills, and I'm successful in those, then I feel comfortable when I go out on the golf course that I can replicate that. The other thing is, which is I've been struggling with, is more the technical thing, is being able to start the ball in the same window, in the same flight every time. That's where I've struggled with, and not being consistent enough with the ball flight coming out the same window the way I want every time. And so, when you get on the golf course and you want to hit this certain shot or the shot you're trying to hit, and you know that, man, I haven't been consistent hitting that window. That's what my issue is that I'm just not sure I can start this ball, in the window I want and have the ball do what I would like. And that's what I've been struggling with for majority of this year. And it's not me not handling the pressure. It's just me technically not able to do that, which, when it comes to pressure, it's, he's sort of throwing darts at, a blank wall trying to hit a bullseye that's not there.
Yeah, that's no good. Nobody wants to be doing that.
Yeah.
How much do you know about LACC?
I don't know much about it. I watched a little bit of the Walker Cup, I think, in 2015 or 2017. I think it was there maybe. I've talked to a couple people. I've got a couple articles that I'm going to read this week about it. There's a couple video series, I think, that I've seen on social media that I sort of sent to myself in a text message to watch. I think one was maybe by the Fried Egg. They did a video series of LACC. I think Golf Digest or Golf Week did another one. Maybe, and it's more or less just seeing the holes with the camera views and everything and what it looks like. But from what I know is that the back nine is a beast. I've been told that there's 3 or 4 par threes. I think there's 5 par threes in the course is what I've been told. And like 3 of them are like 240 to 280. And then there's another par 3 that's 110 yards. So, the best par 3 that week will be the 110-yard par 3 by far.
Yep. Always is.
There's I say an old adage. There's a saying on our tour, and it's been way before our time. There's not many great par 3s over 200 yards, but there's a lot of great par 3s under 170 yards or something like that. More or less, we're saying, par 3s don't need to be 200 something yards long. You can make a great par 3 at 150 yards long. I mean, you think of the postage stamp hole. You think of, I'm drawing blank. Augusta National number 12. So many holes. The better par 3s that people remember are the ones that are under 200 yards.
Pebble, look at Pebble. Number 7 is about 100 yards, something like that. That's an incredible hole. I'm always find that fascinating. Andy at Fried Egg, I always watch his usually leading up to this when, it's, and me and Dan talk about it on this show before you jumped on about, there's sometimes I want to show up and be surprised, but for you guys as players playing in an event, playing a major, I've always wondered, if you don't know the course, how you kind of go through familiarizing yourself with it before you show up. Because it's like once you guys are there and you're in, feels like you guys are experts at it. Once Thursday rolls around, I'm like, how do they get to that point?
You know what? I mean, it's, I think a lot of times we learn, you learn as a professional golfer, you go to so many new courses. Once you turn pro, you start learning how to develop a game plan, to learn about the golf course. But now there's so many people out there, whether other people in media like you guys or someone like Andy with a Fried Egg, that does an unbelievable job of sort of breaking down the course, a little bit. So when we show up, when I go play my first practice round on Sunday, and I'll have some idea of the shape of the holes and the greens and the contours, whether it's based off the videos or whether it's based off the descriptions that I read in these articles. Like, it'll just sort of give me somewhat of a game plan and an idea of what to expect from the golf course right away.
Well, look, we'll be out there, so hoping to see it in LA. I've never been there either, so I'm pretty pumped to see the course. Dan raves about it. He's an LA guy, so he's said he's going to show us around on Monday and show us the ropes and everything. So yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you out there. I know, obviously, it's been golf's been a struggle, and it was a wild weekend for you, I'm sure. So yeah, as always, Billy, we appreciate catching up. We appreciate you giving us your time.
Thanks. Like I said, guys, I mean, I'm a fighter. I've always worked hard in my life at the game of golf, and listen, this is just a bump in the road, and it's my first true bump I've had in my professional game, and we'll come out on the other side at some point. I just don't know when it is.
We'll be rooting for you. We always are.
Thank you.
And I have no doubt, Billy. I might have to just start betting hard on Billy Horschel, knowing that you're coming out on the other end of this thing. That might be my move. No pressure. Not having any pressure. I'm just saying.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, Billy. Well, we'll see you in LA. We'll catch up then. And yeah, we appreciate the time.
Awesome. Thanks, Riggs.